lords and ladies. Today we're going to discuss the origins of Islam. We started to talk about it a little bit in the context of the Byzantine Empire because the Muslims will be the people who conquer the Byzantine Empire. So how does this religion originate? Okay, so we're looking at AD 550 to about 1250, so we'll go just to about, a little shy of the time when they actually take over. The Byzantine Empire. The objectives for today are to be able to identify individuals or groups associated with Islam, meaning tell me, or be able to tell me that someone who believes in Islam is a Muslim, okay? We're going to have to be able to identify the holy book or the text that is associated with Islam, and you're going to have to be able to compare and contrast Islam with other world religions that we've studied. It will have something in common. Move on. Okay, in terms of how Islam is going to be founded, we first have to look at the geography of the region. The area where this is going to take place is on the Arabian Peninsula. In terms of geography and geographic features, it is a desert mostly. Okay, most of the area again is desert. It is sparsely populated. And the majority of the people who live there are nomadic groups who wander. They go between oases, meaning they have to try very hard to find water. So these nomadic groups are called Bedouins, and Bedouins are like the nomadic groups that we've talked about earlier in the year in terms of moving around in search of food and water. The area being a desert and being hot and arid and dry means that farming opportunities are very okay. Now, Muhammad is born in AD 570. Mecca was a religious center, and Allah was viewed as the supreme God. Muhammad is a man who worked as a merchant. He would often go and leave his home and go into, not hiding, but just go places to meditate and get away from his wives. And so Muhammad, he would travel a lot because he had been a merchant so long. He did have to travel quite a bit. And when he was 25 years old, he married an older woman named Khadijah, and they had 6 children together. All of their children, though, except what happens is, much like in the Christian faith, there are revelations that are made to Muhammad. One of these major revelations is that Allah is the one and only true God, and though that places Islam as a third monotheistic religion. And this is important because it gives it something in common with what other 2 religions? Christianity and Judaism. He, in his preaching, delivered messages about how you Muhammad. Now, him being forced from Mecca leads to another significant event in Islamic history, and that is the Hijra. The Hijra is Muhammad's journey. Okay, so all that this term means is that this is the trip that Muhammad took Okay, so the basic beliefs of Islam are as follows. Its holy book, where all of the sacred texts are written, is called the Quran. It could be spelled either of the ways that you see presented there. What most people feel about the Quran, though, is that anything translated is not a real true representation of the Holy Scripture. There are 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, sorry about that. Child is it. Now, the next thing that the Muslims not worry about, but that Muhammad focused on was giving people ideas about how they are to behave. And so these guidelines are established and set forth in the Quran, the holy book of Islam. Muslims are, by their faith, forbidden to eat pork, to drink alcohol. These things are absolutely forbidden. Pork is a foul, disgusting meat in their eyes. Similar to what the Jews say, it is close to the ground and it feeds from the dirt, so it is a filthy animal. And they do not believe in eating it. And they do not believe in drinking alcohol, which apparently the hijackers on 9/11 did not realize when they were hanging out in the strip joint the night before. But that's neither here nor there. But if you are a devout Muslim, you are not to be drinking alcohol. You're supposed to wash yourself before you pray, although this is not always practical. The Quran does have provisions that prohibit lying, murder, and stealing. What does that remind you of from the other? These are 2 terms that you absolutely have to know. And Sharia can be problematic. This is what happens when you're in countries like Saudi Arabia, where if you are openly gay, you can be executed. Where women can be killed simply for being with another man besides their husband without their burqa on. So, I mean, there are serious implications of using Okay. The other idea of Islam that is not always highly publicized and that people often are confused about is very confusing. The idea is that Islam is a monotheistic religion, and as such, it accepts other monotheistic religions. So, in essence, the idea is that